Yo, what's up, y'all? Hope y'all still good on those positive vibes on your side. Today, I'm back talking about more audio stuff, but I'm going to focus today on capturing audio when you're at events. I don't know if you're doing weddings or maybe you just, filming speaking engagements for people. I'm going to tell you today how you can plug into a DJ booth or a house mixer to capture the actual audio coming from the microphone instead of doing stuff like, using the onboard microphone that's with your camera or some type of little short shotgun mic in hopes that it would get you good audio. This is going to be the way for you to actually capture the audio from the board. First, let's go over a few cables that you need to definitely have in your arsenal at some point in time. If you don't have them, I would definitely say pick them up. And the reason why you need a few different cables, because sometimes you get to these events and venues and the DJ mixer or maybe the mixing board from the venue might not have the output that you actually need. So you need to be able to be flexible and have multiple, cables just in case a certain output isn't available. Okay. Now, the first most common cable that you're going to find out there that everybody's going to always have is going to be an XLR cable. It's going to be a male on one side and a female on the other side. You'll see how you need to plug them in once you look at the back of the mixing board, but the other side is going to go to your recorder that you have that you're going to be recording all the audio with. So XLR to XLR is going to be the first main cable. Another cable that I always keep in my bag, just in case, is going to be a XLR to a 1/4 inch cable. And that's what your 1/4 inch jack looks like. Sometimes the back of the mixer only has a 1/4 inch jack. So we're going to plug this into the output on the back of the mixing board. And then, the XLR side is going to go to our recorder that we have. Another cable that I usually just have in my bag just in case. I don't always use this one, but sometimes every now and then I get somewhere and the mixer is using RCA out, or the back of the speaker might have one other output left and it's an RCA pass-through patch or something like that. So RCA cables are going to be those red and white cables that you used to find on the back of, the speakers and stuff at your grandmama and aunt house. A lot of times this is what was used back then. And I know you see the 1/4 inch cables on there, but those are actually adapters, and I take those with me all the time because sometimes on the back of the mixing boards it might just be a left and right out that's 1/4 inch. So I'll take these and I can adapt them to my RCA cables. And then on the other side you'll see that I actually just have an 1/8 inch jack, or a headphone jack as a lot of people tend to call it. And the reason why I have that, because one of my mini recorders that I always take with me everywhere is this small, very, very, very small Sony recorder. And I've used this one, I don't know how long, but forever. When I go to weddings right now, still, if I have to go help somebody shoot, or I'm shooting one myself, or events too, I take this with me a lot of times because it's small, it's compact. I could just plug it in and go. So this cable right here, I will plug it into the microphone jack on top of the recorder. And then you see, I just have my cable on the other side. So I can either go 1/4 inch cables into the back of the mixer, or I can remove those adapters and plug those RCAs into the back of the mixer. All right. So now I'm going to show you the back of a mixer, just in case you haven't seen one, or you're not totally, comfortable with what the back of a mixer looks like. I want to give you a chance to have a visual so you can kind of see what it looks like. Okay. So let's just go over a couple things. So right here, you have your XLR outputs. This is the master XLR output. Now, just being honest, a lot of times what's happening with the XLR master output, that's probably going to the speakers. So a lot of times those aren't available. Some mixers have multiple XLR outputs, and that's always a luxury, but a lot of times they just have a main left and right out, and those might be used already. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Now let's look at some other ones. These right here, those are where your 1/4 inch cables are going to plug into. So if I take, the 1/4 inch cable that I said we're going to, plug into the back of the mixer, I'll just take that, plug it into one of the booth cables, and boom, you can see it just plugs in just like that. Really easy. Plugs into the back of it. Okay. And then just to show you the RCAs as well, I'm going to remove the adapters and you can see across the top, it's a couple different, RCAs. You see the red and white across the top. What you want to do, you want to find the one that says auxiliary or booth out. Make sure it says out, because whatever you want to do, whenever you're, recording audio from an actual mixing console or an actual mixer from a DJ booth, you always want to plug into their output or something that's sending a signal out. Make sure you're not plugging into an input, because then you're going to plug into your mixer and you won't have any audio. That's how it'll look, with the RCAs plugged in at the top. Okay, now let's talk about recorders really fast. My main recorder that I'm always using is the Zoom H6. If you're somebody that's doing weddings or events and you need to, have something that's pretty much lightweight but can also be very versatile and almost use all of the cables that we're using, I'm going to recommend something like the Zoom H6. You have 4 different inputs that you can use, and I really like the fact that you actually have the volume dials on here, so you can kind of, gain stage and stuff when you're getting ready to start recording, because it's nothing worse than getting home and all of the audio is distorted. So you got to be very careful and mindful about that, because sometimes, well, I'm going to say a lot of times, these mixers and mixing boards that you're going to be plugging into, the output might be a little hot. And what I mean by hot is it's sending out a very, very, very strong and loud signal. So if you have a recorder that you can't, turn down that input volume on, or if you're plugged into the main master out from a mixer and they already have it turned all the way up, you got to be careful, because it's going to burn up the recorder, and it might, totally ruin your audio. Since we're touching on that, let's go ahead and just talk about that, because I know sometimes, you plug in and then you just kind of walk away. I'm never doing that. One thing I'm going to always take with me to my events, I'm going to take some ears or headphones, whatever you want to call them. I always take these, because once I plug into a mixer and then I get ready to start recording on whatever my recording source is, I'm going to always plug in my headphones, because I need to preview what I'm listening to. I don't want to just start recording. I don't want to always just, trust the meters, because sometimes the meters might be showing that something is in the right range where you want it to be, but it might just be noise. But if you don't preview that sound, if you don't sample it with your headphones, you'll never know. So please, I know it's not the coolest thing to have in your bag, and sometimes it take up more space than you want or need it to, but it is very important that you have some type of monitoring device, whether it's earbuds or headphones. I prefer the over-the-ear headphones, because it gives you a chance to kind of cancel other noise around you out, and you can really hone into what you're listening to. So please be careful about that. All right, on the actual source that you're plugging into, where should those turning dials or knobs be? So let's just think about, a clock for a second. A lot of times 12 o'clock straight up and down, when that knob is turned up at 12 o'clock, that's usually the midpoint. If we go back to 9, or if we go over to 2, you got to think you're at the lower volume on your left and the higher volume on your right. Whatever you do, you don't really want to go past 12 o'clock on the source that's sending you a signal, because a lot of times that's already too loud. Majority of the time, if I'm using a mixer, for instance, like on this one, it's an auxiliary out, port on here. And on the auxiliary out, I'm kind of toggling this and making sure I'm not going up too loud, because if it's all the way turned up, that's way too loud. And I know for a fact I'm going to get home and my audio is going to sound horrible. So anywhere between, I'm going to say 9 and 12. I really like to say 9 and 11. That's usually more than enough output gain coming from the mixer or console, because like I mentioned earlier, it's usually already a hot signal. So just be careful. On the other side, where you have your mixer, another just rule of thumb that I'm, never really doing, I'm never really going beyond 12 o'clock. Or on the Zoom H6, it might be gained up to 5 or something like that. The reason why on the output mixer that we're trying to keep the gain or the volume output as low as possible is because we can always turn it up on our side. But if it's too loud before it gets to your recorder, then you got a problem already, because then it doesn't matter how much you turn it down or how low you turn it down, it's gonna always sound distorted. So the main way to get around that and to make sure that it's not happening will be to put your headphones on and see what everything is sounding like. Okay, just to give y'all a quick look at how things are usually plugged up, I'll show you really fast. I'm usually just running, like I said, this one XLR coming straight into the Zoom. The dope part about the Zoom, if I need to, flip this cable and go 1/4 inch into the Zoom, it has combo units, so I could plug up XLR or 1/4 inch on this side. So that's another great thing about the Zoom that you can do. I'll tell you guys another thing that I do too, because I'm one of those people that try to have a backup of everything. And even though the Zoom has been amazing for me over the years, I still, have that little queasy stomach feeling when I'm recording audio and getting paid, a nice amount of money for it, that I don't want to mess up. I don't want to have any issues. I don't want to get home and, don't have the audio how it needs to be. I sometimes connect these two. And what I do, on the bottom of the Zoom recorder, you have a line out jack. So I'll take a cable, similar to this one, that is 1/8 inch jack on each side, or headphone jack on each side, how a lot of y'all already say it. And I'm gonna plug into the line out of this. So now it's plugged into the bottom of it, line out. And then on my mini recorder that I take with me, I'm gonna plug into the line in, or the microphone jack. So now it looks like this. My main recorder here, and then my backup recorder is here, is plugged into it. So now whatever's coming through the Zoom H6 is gonna go straight to the Sony as well. So then I'm recording in two places simultaneously at one time, just being, safe. Is this a little extra and overkill? Most definitely. But if you ever been a person that's had an audio scare, you wouldn't think that I'm tripping. Okay, so look, just a quick recap on everything. XLR cable, make sure you have that. Some type of 1/4 inch cable, make sure that you have that, because even though this one is a 1/4 inch to XLR, you can also get a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch. I take one of those cables with me as well, because being that I could do XLR or 1/4 inch on the Zoom H6, that's something that's major, and it gives me a chance to have a little bit more flexibility as far as cables. Hopefully this will help a lot of you guys out there that are getting into doing events and weddings and need to plug into DJ booths. You want to have cables, if nothing else. And on top of wanting to have cables, make sure you have backups. One thing that happens with audio cables, between, you can see I try to have mine all nice and tidy and using cable ties and stuff like that, but you never know when these cables are gonna start to act funky on you, and it happens. So every cable that I'm showing you right now, I probably have at least 4 or 5 of them. different lengths, some of them are different gauges and stuff like that, but if nothing else, have you some backups. So don't take one XLR, take an extra one if you can, just in case. You need a 1/4 inch cable, take an extra one just in case. It can only save you if you have it. But if you don't have it, that could be a huge problem. Like I said, I hope this helps somebody out there. Appreciate all y'all showing the support that y'all been showing so far. And look, I'm just looking forward to trying to help some of y'all elevate things on y'all side when it comes to filming and doing other stuff in the media space. Y'all keep pushing out there, keep fighting, stay on the positive vibes, and as always, good luck. Talk soon.